I first want to say thank you. Thank you for being here as we, Beech Grove Police Department, the city of Beech Grove, the community around us, and most importantly, Aaron and the rest of Officer Brian Elliott's family mourn the senseless loss of his life. The outpouring of support from not only here in Indiana, but across this nation has been overwhelming. The calls, text messages, emails, items left at the station, you being here, have all meant so much. To all the agencies, local, state, and federal, that came to our aid in one of the most devastating events that can happen to a police department. Thank you. I do not take it lightly that when our world stopped, you responded. Even when your world kept spinning, you were here to prop us up until we can get back on our feet. Thank you for responding and helping us to capture Brian's murderer so that we may begin the process of healing and closure. Aaron, I want to thank you for sharing Brian with the Beech Grove Police Department. I am sorry for your loss, and I promise that the Beech Grove Police Department will not let his memory or the lasting impact that he had on our department be forgotten. February 16th, 2026 will forever be a devastating day in the history of the Beech Grove Police Department. There is no playbook, no policy, and no amount of training that can prepare you when your officers call you telling that you have not one, but 2 officers shot. As I drove into the city, I couldn't comprehend how this could have happened. I thought it had to be a mistake. I knew who was working. I hired them. I trained with them. I watched them on runs that I had taken with them. I had seen their body cameras interacting with the public. They were everything we want and expect our officers to be: fearless, compassionate, eager, community-oriented, selfless with a desire to help others, and able to act valiantly in high-stress and tactical situations. I need to stop there for a minute and tell you more about my Beech Grove Police Department family. I'll tell you how and why Brian ever became a Beech Grove police officer. The city of Beech Grove is 4 square miles with 15,000 citizens. It is surrounded by the almost 1 million citizens of Indianapolis. I used to say in interviews that the Beech Grove Police Department was one of the best kept secrets in central Indiana. Why a secret? Because we were often overlooked. We have a brand new police department, a brand new training facility with an indoor range. We are composed of 40 police officers and 5 civilian support staff. Among our officers, we have 8 with associate's degree, 22 with a bachelor's degree, 3 have master's degrees, and the rest, 4 of them have military experience. 5 of us have attended the FBI National Academy, with 1 attending the current session. Over half the department are instructors or FTOs. Not only are we fully staffed, we're fully staffed in Marion County, Indiana. It is unheard of to have no openings when everyone around you is struggling to find qualified candidates. Why are we fully staffed? Why do we continue to find and hire only the best? Previously, I would have told you to come see for yourself. I don't have to tell you that anymore. Officer Elliott and his shift's actions are on full display for the whole world to see and read about. Brian was one of our officers with a bachelor's degree. He came to us after serving 6 years with the Marion County Sheriff's Office and Eskenazi Health, the Marion County Sheriff's Office, where he worked in the sex offender registry unit. When we hired Brian, he already possessed the characteristics that we expect our officers to display. He was going to fit right in because, like our other officers, he was the very best. Brian attended the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy in the summer of 2024, where he was assistant squad leader, graduated with honors, and won the Glenda Mercer Memorial Award for being the top academic performer in his graduating class. Brian's pursuit to be the best police officer possible did not stop after graduating the academy. It continued after he completed his field training with us. Brian was a go-getter, striving to lead his shift in arrests and runs taken. He chose to return to middle shift in October of 2025. Middle shift at Beech Grove is the busiest shift, so it didn't surprise anyone that he wanted to be a part of that team. During that time, Brian received several supervisor recognitions. He also volunteered for our community events such as Shop with a Cop and National Night Out. Now back to that night. After leaving the hospital, in the early morning hours of Tuesday, the 17th, I returned to the police department as questions remained on what had occurred just a few hours prior. Although I had been briefed on some of the events, I still needed answers. I watched the body cam video with one of my deputy chiefs. What I saw was a shift displaying all the characteristics I already listed. 2 officers heard a cry for help and without hesitation answered that cry. They immediately went to intervene, unaware there was an ambush on the other side of that door. I saw an officer who himself had just been shot immediately try to evacuate Officer Brian Elliott, who had also been shot from in front of that door. I saw the sergeant immediately start rendering aid to Brian. They stayed in the fight, even under fire. They didn't retreat, and they never left Brian's side. I saw the rest of the shift arrive on scene and run to assist their officers who were under attack. They did all they could for Officer Elliott while transporting him in the back of their patrol vehicles. I watched as they loaded the other officer into another vehicle and took him to the hospital. Officer Elliott was murdered not because of a mistake or one of his shipmates had made. It was circumstances no one on this side of the door could have controlled. At no point did they retreat. At no point did they leave Officer Elliott's side. They didn't wait to make sure it was safe before they tried to save Brian. Why? Because Officer Elliott was one of them. They knew he possessed those qualities that make the Beech Grove Police Department who we are. They knew Officer Elliott would not have left them. Was Brian so much more than a police officer? Absolutely. However, the man Brian was outside of work was on full display the night in his role as a police officer. Officer Brian Elliott was the best of the best, and that is why he was a Beech Grove police officer. The question remains, how do we try and prevent this from occurring in the future? It is time for this nation and this state to have a serious conversation about criminal justice reform and juvenile violence. I am not talking about the law enforcement side. The law enforcement aspect has seen more scrutiny and changes to our profession over the last 5 years than the previous 20 combined. It is time to hold accountable those who hold a propensity for violence so that they cannot assault or kill another innocent victim. How does a small, family-oriented department move forward after the loss of one of their own? We are hurting, shocked, and brokenhearted at Brian's loss. There have been times when it almost seems unbearable. Many people have sent words of encouragement or scripture to console my officers and me. The one verse that was shared with me that I keep going back to is Psalms 34:18. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. Yesterday at my church service, as we closed out, we sang a song called His Glory and My Good. A lyric in the song says, "There is hope in every trial, for I can trust the Lord." That is where I am. We often feel the weakest in times of trial, but my hope will remain in the Lord. It would be easy to pack it up and quit. It would be easy to say it isn't worth it. But that's not in our DNA. And it wasn't in Brian's DNA either. We cannot quit. That would only diminish the sacrifice that Brian made and the legacy that he leaves behind. Brian was so much more than a police officer, and we will be different without him. We will have a scar to bear, but I have already seen the resolve and the unity that this tragedy has brought out in my officers and their families. Stories that have brought laughter and stories that have brought tears. We have started down the long path of healing, and we will continue to show resolve as we serve the citizens of Beech Grove with dedication, valor, sacrifice, and integrity. Officer Brian Elliott, it was an honor to have served alongside you. We will continue to carry on your sacrifice from here.